Evening times, kept me away from TV, thank goodness. Weekend working, every spare minute I've got, or I've had, has gone into working on the plane over the 3 years I've been doing it. I think really on the difficulty side was getting used to using composite materials. It's the first time I've ever done any fiberglass work. Although I served my time as an apprentice at Rolls-Royce Aero Engines, I'd never done any composite work whatsoever, and I found that very interesting. You can make a lot of shortcuts by seeing how other people have gone on. There was a syndicate of 5 building another aircraft about 5 miles away, and I started about 2 years after them. So it was extremely useful being able to pop across and see them working together. I mean, the capability of the aircraft is approaching 200 miles an hour, 700 mile range, and one of the most dear things that I want to do. I used to have an in-law lived at Thurso, right on the north coast of Scotland, which is 500 miles away, and I want to pop up there for a long weekend. I'm going to keep the plane in the garage at home. The wings are demountable. I'm hoping to be able to do maintenance work myself and save the expensive business of parking an aircraft on an airfield. Best advice to people who are thinking of doing such a project is to make sure they've done their money calculations before they embark on it. Make sure that the wife's comfortable with it, and be prepared to eliminate all other interests while they're doing it.
Robin, he's here to help me from Adams Aviation. They sell all this kit. You know the people who come around and sell you mops and buckets and that kind of stuff? Well, Robin's the kind of aeronautical equivalent to that. He comes around with loads of kit. Look at this, it's fantastic. I've got a picture here to help us of the instrument panel that's been put in a previous Europa, so we can have that here. Now, what else do I need to think about as the absolute essentials?
Well, as you said, Mark, the 4 basic instruments, they're the main ones that we'll use in any installation whatsoever. Recommended would be two others, a turn coordinator, for instance, on your bottom left here.
Right.
And maybe a VSI, a vertical speed indicator.
Oh, right, the turn coordinator is the ball in it, isn't
That's
it?
right.
6. Where do I go from there?
Okay, well, there you've got, basically you want some avionics.
What does avionics actually mean, though? Does it not cover all these things as well?
No, I mean, we look at these as instruments.
Right.
The avionics are basically your communications, your navigation, equipment, there's many types of equipment come under the heading of avionics.
Right.
From GPS to basic comms, handhelds, that type of thing. And again, that's entirely up to you.
Okay.
A basic comms system, we've got a couple here that are actually instrument-sized comms.
But that's tiny.
If you have a problem with room in the panel, these things are brilliant. Again, here we've got some various GPS systems. GPS has been the single biggest leap forward in navigation over the last decade for aviation, using satellites that are running around in the sky.
One of the biggest worries for me is when you're flying, there's a lot to think about as a kind of junior novice pilot, and you're doing a bit of navigation, you end up over town, you think it's say Evesham, but you're not sure, and you're trying to keep your height, you're trying to keep everything else sorted out in the plane, and it's like, really, well, is this Evesham or not? And you're trying to look at, every time I look at my map, I start descending. Would a GPS be something that would actually, I could just look at it and just cross-check and go, oh yeah, it's exactly where I thought I was. Fine, bang, I can carry on flying.
Absolutely. It's the single biggest advantage of having a GPS. You'll have, as you say, there, Evesham or whatever. All these towns will come up on your map. You'll be exactly, you have an arrow basically telling you exactly where you are in the sky and exactly what's under you. Railways, rivers, towns, basically down to whatever accuracy you want.
And how much?
About £350.
Gosh, that's not bad for a sophisticated bit of kit like that, is it?
Smashing piece of
kit. Okay.
We're using an intercom. This particular one is a stereo intercom.
Right, so this is just for me to talk to
the
passenger.
Yeah.
Passenger, yeah. Frankly, I don't think I'm going to need one of those because I don't know anybody who's going to be brave enough to come flying with me.
No, you're right. Yeah.
Although I might take Pete, mate. You'll come with me, won't you, Pete?
No way.
Charming, isn't it?
You're on your own, mate.
Absolutely charming. But I've ought to have one just in case, shouldn't I?
No, absolutely,
really?
yeah.
So that's a fairly simple bit of kit, presumably.
Yeah, and if you have a CD player or whatever in the aeroplane, you get bored, listen to some music, you can listen to it through that, and that will give you in stereo.
You are joking. You're not allowed to listen to CDs in your plane?
Absolutely. It's got an automatic cut-off if there is any transmission through.
Air traffic control?
Yeah.
Superb. Bruce Springsteen in the air. Yeah. Yes! I've got to have that. I definitely want one of those. All right, now, this is all fairly complicated stuff, really. You don't know anybody who could help me wire it up?
Well, it's a tough one. But there's a colleague down in Biggin Hill where we're from that I could put you in touch with. He's done probably about 7 or 8 of these panels, and yeah.
Is he cheap?
Very.
Excellent. Well, Robin's been a real help, and I now know exactly what instruments I want. So the next job is to start preparing the instrument panel to take the instruments themselves, and that involves marking it up and then cutting out, using hole cutters like these, the holes to put the instruments in. So I'll crack on with that right now. Oh, I bet you're wondering how much I spent on instruments, aren't you? Well, I can't tell you because it's too painful. So, drill the holes to attach the gauge in there. Neville from the factory, you remember Neville, nice bloke, dodgy haircut? Well, he lent me this jig that he's made up. I've marked it up already where I want it to lie. That sits in the hole like that. Just dial it round until it meets the marks. And then from underneath, bolt goes through. So it comes up like that. That's it, sorted. And all I've got to do is drill it through. Now, although I completely hate sanding down this beast, I'm doing it because I'm in a bit of a quandary about my instrument panel. It's ready to accept the instruments, but I am very worried about whether it should be me who actually wires it all up, because it's a very important part of the plane and I've spent a fortune on it and I want to get it absolutely right, if only for safety reasons. So should I do it myself or should I get in an avionics expert? Find out after the break. Welcome back. Call me a wimp, if you will.
You're a wimp.
Thank you very much. But I decided to get some help. And what you can hear in the background is Ash from AM Avionics, who's helped me put together this panel, and it's coming along really well, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm very pleased with it. We've just
Excellent.
got a few more things to
Take
do.
a look at this here. If you think this looks impressive, then take a look at the guts of the thing. Now, that is one very good reason why it's worth bringing in somebody to help you do this. What's the big mistakes that people make when they start thinking about doing their own instruments?
Well, I think they don't see the whole job through. You need to know exactly what equipment you're going to put in it before you make the first cut. And then don't vary it, no variation from that point on.
Well, do you find that people sort of go, oh yeah, I've got it all sorted, I know what I'm going to do, and they get kind of halfway into it and go, oh, I want one of those there.
Absolutely. And it's a limited area. There's not a lot of space there, really. You have to have your 6 instruments there. You've got a small area there for avionics. Choose once and that's it.
What we've got to do next, we've got the DI to go in.
Correct. That's the last instrument there. And then just some radios.
All right, so the DI, we've got the unit is there.
That's the
one
DI
that's
there,
going in. Okay, that's the brand new one. Now, what's inside the DI?
Well, we've got a cutout there. So to give you an idea, there's a gyro, which is vacuum driven. And basically, air is sucked into the instrument, which rotates that gyro.
Okay.
And from that, through a few gears, you get a card rotating there. So that's pretty much how the gyro works, basically.
Right. So when that's in place, then the whole of the inside of that's got the vacuum running through it.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
There's 2 vacuum-driven instruments. There's this and the artificial horizon.
Okay, which we've got there, which is the other cutout, which is an amazing instrument, isn't it?
Sure. Again, that's the gyro there, but it's free moving. It's not fixed like the. It's fixed in one plane.
Yeah.
And again, if you move that,
Okay.
and this instrument gives you pitch and roll information.
Because the gyros here are basically in relation to planet Earth. They're in space, so wherever you go with this instrument fixed to your aircraft, this will always stay in the right plane. So as you're moving around, I mean, when it's set like this and it hasn't got the vacuum going, it just sits on a tilt.
Yes.
It's only when the gyro is actually spinning.
They're actually erect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a superb, really clever bit of engineering. Beautiful instrument. Really lovely. So that's that. We've already got that one in there. So should we pop the DI in?
Sure, we can do that now.
Okay, I've got the screws this side.
We'll just put the old shaft through there.
Can I just say, this is a really, really woofy colour for a screwdriver.
Well, no one steals it.
Now you'll notice, look, that every screw has been painted as well with the same stuff as the actual instrument panel. This surface finish on here is fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a Nextel suede coat paint. It's very hard wearing, light, ideal for the job, really.
Do some people put, decide I want leather covering or whatever?
Sure, it depends on your taste. You know? I've seen panels with full leather, which looks very nice, but this is functional.
But presumably you add leather on there, it adds weight, and the whole point of this plane is to make it as light
Absolutely,
as possible. So.
Yeah, you want to keep it down to a minimum.
Right, that's fantastic. Right. So first, transponder, yeah?
That's right, yep.
So just take me through how this works.
Air traffic control. Interrogate the aeroplane. This sends out a signal to let air traffic control know where you are.
So that's what provides a blip on the screen, is it?
Correct, yeah. ATC will tell you to squawk a code, and they may say squawk 7234. So you select that on your dials there, and then that code is transmitted to the ground. and they have a PPI display, a map basically of the sky, and tell them where you are.
And the code's here, then you can also use in an emergency situation, can't you?
That's right, yeah.
And there's this lovely rhyme that you learn about, which says 7.5, which is 7,500, caught alive, which means you've been hijacked. 7.6, which is 7,600, means in a fix, your radio's broken. And 7.7, 7,700 is going to heaven, Mayday, something very serious has just happened to your aeroplane.
Sure.
So it's a very, very important bit of kit.
It is, yes. Yeah.
Okay. Next is the radio.
Yeah, it's a VHF COM radio. Operates between 118 and 136 megahertz. And there's 25 kilohertz spacing, which gives you the 760 channels. You can actually set 10 frequencies in the memory. So if you've got a flight plan, and you know you're going to go through different spaces and use different frequencies, you can preset the frequencies into the radio.
Right.
And by pressing that button there, you can just select 1 to 10.
Oh, that's
frequency
good.
you like, yeah.
Looks of the business. Now, we've pretty much finished the actual panel itself.
That's
haven't we?
right, yeah.
So what's next?
Now we have to interface the panel with the aircraft.
Hey, avionics. We're going to interface the
absolutely.
panel with the plane.
That's right. We have
What
to.
you like?
We need engine monitoring systems,
Right.
all the sensors for the engine gauges, a battery so we can power the thing up, antennas, cables for the radio and the transponder.
So there's a lot to do.
There is.
To get on with it, you're costing me a fortune. Thank you
Fine.
very much. Go interface, Ash. You joined me at 2,000 feet. I'm now flying a twin, which is very interesting. But as you can see, it's extremely foggy. And I can't actually see where I'm going, so I'm having to try and fly by instruments. Oh, hell, I can't be bothered with this. Are we going to crash? No, we're not, because we're in a simulator. Hello! Yes, here we are. This is brilliant. This is just like flying for real. But you obviously can't see anything. So everything then you have to really, really focus on the instruments. Normally when you're flying, for like doing a PPL, you can only fly in visual meteorological conditions.
Correct.
Just explain what that means.
Well, basically, it means that you can see out the window.
So why do I need to know about how to fly just on the instruments when you can't see out the window?
Right, it was part and parcel of the new JAR PPL skills test now, quite a sensible addition, is that if you inadvertently get into cloud, you don't want to put you in a situation that you're totally unfamiliar with and totally unprepared for. So it's quite easy to get into cloud, although we should always do our best to avoid it. So we need to install some training that would enable you to just make a straightforward turn to get through 180 degrees to get out of that cloud situation that you're in.
Right.
So that's what we're going to have a look at. Let's make this as some part and parcel of the test scenario. So you're just flying into cloud, Denmark. What are we going to do?
We're going to do. I need to come out of cloud as quickly as possible.
Okay.
So I need to turn through 180 degrees.
Good.
So the first thing I'm going to do is to do 180 degrees. I'm going to stick that so I know where I've got to go to. Right. I'll just check everything. At the moment that's right. Ball is in the middle. It's okay. I know where I've got to go. I'm level and I'm at 4,100 feet. So I'm now going to do a left turn. So that's okay. I'm turning left. I'm at my 15 degree angle of bank. It's okay. I am turning in the right direction towards my heading. I'm climbing. So just pitch forward. Pitch forward. So still angle of bank. Airspeed's okay. 15 degrees. Still turning. I'll need to anticipate that in a minute. I'm not climbing or dropping. Altitude's okay. I want to anticipate my heading by half angle of bank, which is 7.5 degrees.